Okay. Hey, Evan.
Good afternoon.
It is afternoon. You're a watch wearer, aren't you?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't like Apple Watches.
I know. We could get into that. It's a whole tangent that Evan could go on.
Yeah.
But it is episode, I don't remember, of the Don't Wrestle Your Neighbor Morning Show
19.
podcast. I'm happy that you remember that. Evan, do you want to try to put that on your hands? You want
I have to type it in every day. So.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Well, today we are going to talk about a topic that you guys have sent in or we've talked about before.
Who sent this in?
I don't want to call anybody out.
Yeah, that's probably a better idea.
It's probably best. But today,
What exactly did they send in? Can you?
they said,
tell
hey,
me?
you should talk about this thing.
Okay.
And they said, hey, you should talk about dating.
Oh. You know, we've done it.
We have done it.
You and I.
Yep.
One of us probably more than the other. But
Are you saying me
we're
more
both
than you or
married
you
now.
more than me?
I didn't date a ton.
I got you.
I really didn't.
I gotcha.
Was that the whole comment? Talk about dating? That was it?
They very broad. They said,
Nothing specific.
hey, you should talk about dating.
That's it. Not even a period on the sentence.
Not
just,
even.
just
Nothing.
open-ended.
Nothing
Not
whatsoever.
not even an end to the thought. Well, do you want to start?
So I think I have a question for you.
Oh,
I think I
okay.
have a question for you. So at what age do you think you started thinking about dating?
Ooh, I probably started thinking about it at, I think I may have been a little later.
Okay.
It probably 13, 14.
Okay, so you were in high school or 8th grade?
Probably 8th grade when I started thinking about it.
Okay.
And then I didn't do any actual dating until I was a little older than that. But I
high
probably
school.
started, the idea, the thought probably came into my mind around that time.
Okay.
What about you?
I was probably
6, 8 years old.
I was probably in 6th grade. I remember being in 6th grade and there was like all of my friends were dating, which was a weird thing.
In 6th grade, so you were like 12.
Yeah. So I remember like I had a friend who had been dating this girl for this long period of time.
In 6th grade?
In 6th grade.
What period of time is long period of time
So
in
it was
6th
like
grade?
it was like 5 months. They had been dating. So they had
Oh, my
dated all
goodness.
throughout the summer. And then
They
the
made
first
it through the whole summer.
They had made it through the whole first
Wow.
part of they made it through summer and the first two months of the school year. But like they were actually like they were hanging out, like they would go to the mall together.
Right.
Their parents would take them. It was kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
But I remember being like, oh, I haven't done this in 6th grade.
Yeah.
And being like, I mean, I like some people. I think some people are cute. But
Okay.
like, my parents weren't really big on like dating and they weren't going to be super involved. So like the idea of me like asking my mother
Right.
to take me to the mall to hang out with this girl was like kind of hilarious.
Right.
And so I dated some girls in 6th grade and like they would come watch me play football and like we would hang out and talk potentially like after the game. We'd go to some dances, like
Right.
school dances, but like that's probably when I started thinking about it.
Right. I
probably had 2 girlfriends in 6th grade.
2 in 6th grade?
2 in 6th grade.
See, that's a lot better than I was doing.
Yeah. I dated, yeah, 2 girls, I think, in 6th grade.
Honestly,
I think I remember, yeah.
I think I didn't date. I don't think like, and is this like put a label on it dating or like this is my girlfriend dating, or it wasn't, I was hanging out with this girl and you're considering that dating?
I would say
What's our definition of dating?
One of them I would place, there was a label. The other one, like, we were hanging out and
I
like we
gotcha.
would like
So
our
you
friends,
consider-
all my friends would be like, oh, you like her.
So you
blah, blah,
consider
blah.
both dating?
I consider that at that point in time in 6th grade, I feel like that's all that it can be because
Okay.
it's like, you know, you can't drive, you can't really do anything in terms of like like it all revolves around your parents and like what they're willing to take you. And my parents, like,
they weren't willing to do any of that.
They were willing. They would. My mom would just been like, my mom was also my principal in 6th grade, and so it was just a weird like avenue to be like, hey mom, I like this girl.
She's like, who is that?
Yeah, and she's like, I don't know that I like, it was just a weird. And then my dad would just like, he was a troll, so he would just be like, oh, you got a girlfriend, but you can't drive, or oh, you got a girlfriend, but you don't got no hair on your chin, like that kind of stuff. And so I was like, okay, I'm keeping them out of it,
right?
Which like I probably didn't really start dating until 8th grade. 7th, 8th grade, just because like my parents at that point were like, okay, this is probably happening. But
yeah. I feel like for me there was like hanging out with girls, so I guess it could be considered dating by some definitions, but like official, like actual, like girlfriend, like this is my girlfriend, I didn't have a defined relationship until my literal wife.
That is so crazy. Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that's honestly cool.
I hung out with girls and like, saw other girl, blah, 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 and stuff like that. But the official, like, this is a relationship. It wasn't until my actual wife. Yeah.
Do you feel that you are better off because of that?
Yes.
Okay. Why would 100%. You say that? Why would you say that you're better off?
I think it's because of who my wife is. Fair? I think I could have committed to another person easily. Like,
let's not unpack that.
No. I don't mean like committed in like a
I get what you're saying.
A marriage sense. Yes. I mean, I could have said by commitment, I mean you are my girlfriend. Yes. I'm in a relationship. I think I could have done that with another person.
Okay.
But I think it's because of who Carly is that I love. Like, there is an element.
Very grateful that you only met.
There's an element of me knowing, I think.
Yes.
At that time, like this is a very good person.
Well, just because you didn't date
and an element of luck.
Watch other people date. Correct.
What do you mean?
So like you didn't, like you and Carly started dating when?
Like
what year in high school?
Like when we were 16.
So your sophomore, juniors, roughly?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like, I'm guessing were any of your other friends dating?
Yeah. Kind of,
so like you had watched the annoyance of dating.
Yeah, I had seen. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like foreign completely. Yeah. The idea.
So keep telling about your like why you valued that so much, because I think that's interesting.
Well, I didn't value it at the time, but in hindsight,
nobody does.
In hindsight, I value it because I think I would have been a very different person had my first relationship not been with someone as high quality. As good of a person as Carly was.
That's good. Yeah.
So, and is. So, yeah, I think I my life could have gone in a lot of different directions if I had.
I love hearing you talk about this.
Had Carly in my life.
Yeah.
So I think I'm
Carly's great.
I think I'm a very different person, and I think I'm a much better person than I could have been.
Okay.
Which I think in any relationship is what you want.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what you want.
You want somebody to...
I think it's so funny that you say those things because, like, we work with students and, they're always talking about, well, more on the girl side than the guy side.
Sure.
But, man, I just want a boyfriend or want to have a relationship to learn from it or to experience it. And, it's like sometimes it's just, like, not important. Like,
well, it's natural to want to experience things you haven't experienced.
100%. It is very natural.
I haven't seen this movie. I want to go see it. I haven't listened to this music.
And it's easier for us to talk about it. I haven't
gone skydiving.
Right. I don't want to try that.
I haven't tried bacon flavored soda.
That will not be a Trey tries it.
It's in the works.
That will not be. I will not jump out of the plane. I will cling and claw to the side of the plane.
Absolutely no shame involved. I will do everything I can to not jump out of that plane, is what you're saying.
Basically.
Yeah.
I will not let go of my parachute. Like I will splat.
Okay. But I forgot completely.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think from my point of view, as a person who did date quite a bit in high school, in middle school and high school, I like it.
And honestly, I don't think you were like gratuitous with your amount of like you weren't just like
I wasn't just like fit. I don't feel like I was just like dating.
It's not a lot to say someone dated more than me because I didn't.
Right, because
really
I would say that like I dated in middle school and high school. Like I probably in middle school I probably dated 3 girls in middle school, and then in high school I dated 3 girls in high school.
Yeah,
and so like 6 before I got into college. And so I would say that I think when I think about my dating and relationships, early on in the relationships that I had a really probably not the like healthiest understanding of like what dating actually meant. Like that I was supposed to, you know, be the best version of myself.
Right.
And then also like serve another person in an aspect.
Sure.
But in a world of like middle school and high school, like you can't, well, let's just talk about high school in particular. It's really hard to not just be constantly thinking about yourself in that
Sure,
period of time. You're just not,
Yeah.
I don't want to say you're not mature enough, but it's really hard to like be able to think about other people.
There's a lot going
all
on
of the time. And so when you have a relationship with someone that's not just your friend, and you're constantly having to think about someone else and their feelings and then how those feelings affect you, like it was a lot for me. I remember just being in high school and being stressed. Like when I was in relationships from my freshman through junior year of high school, like I was stressed all the time.
Yeah.
Because I just felt like,
it's just
am I doing enough?
You kind of feel like, well, that's all there is.
Exactly.
To some point.
Exactly.
At some point. But, you know, you just, whenever you are spending 4 years in high school and 4 years in college,
Mm-hmm.
like in your 20s and in your teens, you just, you don't realize how much more stuff there is going on.
Right.
Like, and, you know, like for me, there was a part in my life, and I look back on it fondly, whenever it was like, you know, my relationships and my friendships and all that stuff, that was all I had going on to a certain extent.
Right.
And that's an awesome thing to be able to focus on that stuff. But it can be stressful if it's like, this is all it feels like this is all I have, this relationship. Yeah. So I have to cling on to it, or I have to
I have to do whatever I can
I have to
make
want
it work.
a relationship more and more, you know, but.
Well, and I just remember kind of probably my junior year going into my senior year, my friendships for the first time just became so crucial to me.
Right.
That like for me to date someone and like partially move away from these friendships that I had and like, you know, take time to do something else. Yeah. Was like, it was a big deal. Yeah. And so like the relationship had to be in some way worth it. To me, to like take away from these friendships that I had built. So like the friends that I had made through church, the friends that I had made from like running in high school, like those friend groups were so important to me. Yeah. That it was like, those are my brothers. Like these are my best friends in the world. And so for me to date right now, like I had placed so much value in those friendships and those relationships that like dating to me was like, yeah, I guess I know. Yeah. I can do this.
Well, and I mean, at the end of the day,
I don't really care all that much right now.
Also, I feel like you didn't really need any permission to date.
No.
I was kind of different, where it's like, you know, some kids need like the permission of your parents. Like, hey, am I allowed to date now?
That's interesting.
And I think
I wouldn't have thought about it that way.
That like, yeah, well, you just didn't. Yeah. I don't think you had that. No. So it was like that. You know, at the end of the day, you have to listen to what your parents are saying on it to a certain extent. If your family puts a lot of emphasis on like you have to be of a certain age or have like once you can drive, then it's that kind of, for me it was kind of like once you can drive, it's a different thing because now you can get yourself places. But before that, it's like, we're not going to take you and like drop you off at, you know, a date or something like that. So it just depends from family to family, and like, you know, you got to listen to your parents, obviously. And
my parents were just never going to like just invest into like a relationship because they just were like, this is foolish. Yeah. My son likes this girl and I don't think I care. Yeah. Like he's not marrying this girl. Like, it's not a huge deal.
I think that's how John felt about me. But little did he know I was going to stick around
forever. Okay, so what about? And I didn't like. I had no real plan about us talking about dating. So what about Carly? Mm-hmm. Made you feel like, okay, this is worth it? Like dating her is worth it, because I feel like a lot of our students, like, they are looking for just something, and they're like,
sure.
oh, maybe it's, oh, they're attracted to me, or maybe they're kind to me, or maybe whatever. And it's like, those are all cool things, but that doesn't always mean that you just commit to somebody.
Sure.
So like for you, what would you say?
I would say, like, you know, let's not take away from the fact that I was very young when we started dating.
Fair.
So like when we started dating, my reasons were much different than for starting than they would be for staying.
For staying and committing. And,
so I think that, you know, when you're dating someone, you get into a relationship because you're like, I like this person, we get along.
They like
seem to line up on like
different things,
the way we view the world, maybe a little bit, and they like me. I feel good when I'm around them. They seem like a good person. Like, you know, it's all those kind of
they're fun to be around.
Right.
All the surface level things.
You know, I'm attracted to them, that kind of stuff.
And then as time goes on.
But then as time goes by and you get to actually know them on a deep level, then like your motivations for staying in a relationship are much different than starting one. So I think maybe the better question would be, why did you decide to stay in that relationship?
Yeah.
And I think it's because I saw the person that I was whenever I was with Carly. And the person I was whenever I wasn't, or the person I could be without her. And it was like, I much prefer who I am with her.
That's
and
awesome.
And it was kind of that, and me and Carly have said this to each other countless times, where it's like, neither of us need each other to go on with life. You know, you don't need me in your life to get by. You know, you can find someone, you know, just as good or better than me. Like you could have, you know, done anything you want. You don't need me to survive in this world, but it's that choice of saying, but I want you to be a part of my life.
I don't like thinking about it that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I would not like to not have you in my life.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I can do, you know, we could both do just fine without each other, but it's that choice, that recognition of, but I don't want to live life without you.
And I think that there's that.
So it was that kind of getting to that point in my life saying,
I love that.
I don't want to live life without you. Sure, I could.
Right.
But I don't want to. So
that's really good.
That's just my experience.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, for me, I think similar to what you're saying, like the surface levels. So like my wife, super athletic. My wife like did not like me. And so
Carly didn't like me either.
And so I think that has to be something we do every time now. But I think for me, there was a little bit of like
Actually, I take that back. My wife did like me, I think, but she didn't let me.
My wife, like, absolutely, I believe, friend zoned me.
She didn't just agree immediately.
I think my wife friend zoned me, and I'm a story of a guy who got out of the friend zone.
I think on some level, Carly did think. I think she rejected me a couple of times because she did feel like this dude could be bad news. Like I think on some level she was like, this is probably not the best choice for me. So like I'm gonna do myself a favor and say no to this now. You know what I mean?
I think when I just think about when me and my wife met, like at that point I knew what I wanted in a like a spouse type of person. And I think when I was in college, I was done kind of just like when I was at Indiana University, I had done some like dating and like going on dates and kind of figured out, okay, this is the type of person that like would like compliment me. And these are the, like, I need these type of values. I need this type of commitment. I need this type of whatever. And so when I met my wife, like, and like, I think found out that she wanted similar things. It was like, okay, like, let's go. Like we get each other. Yeah. Easily. Like I am a 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times better person because of my wife. And that is, I mean, that's what any man I would hope would ask for, is to be a better person.
Not like, no. I'm making my wife a better person each day.
Right.
No.
Right. It's like, I feel that
or girlfriend or whatever.
Right. Exactly. And so
that's not what you want.
Yeah. It's not what you want at all. And so I feel like it's super, like those things that we're saying though, that's not surface level. Like a surface level relationship would be saying like, oh, you make me happy. Like, oh, you make me smile, or oh, you think I'm cute, or oh, whatever.
It's like those are all important things, but
all good things. But it's like it takes time to learn that. Hey, you actually make me a better person.
Beauty fades,
right?
I'm not cute every day.
No, I'm not.
I'm not funny every day.
I have bad days.
Yeah,
like I have days where I'm not my best version of myself,
and that's what I'm talking about. Whenever I talk about like the choosing, where it's like,
yeah, it's a choice.
I have to choose. To be a part of this, even on the uncute days, the unfunny days,
right?
The sad days,
the days where we're not on the same page.
We're not jiving,
right? We're not on the same page on something. Like I have to choose you, and I think that is probably one of the hardest things that I try to convey to high school students in particular, because middle school students, like I don't think you should be dating. Like it's just not. You can't drive. If you can't drive, it's kind of a waste of time because your parents are laughing at you behind the back because
you got a bike.
Huh? Yeah.
You got a bike?
Yeah. If you have a bike and you can go somewhere, fine. But like the idea of your mom or your dad driving you to the mall with you two in the back seat, it's comical. Like it's comical. And I actually know a friend. I have a friend who they started dating in middle school and they're still together. And like, it's insane. But I have one friend that is the case.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's a beautiful story. But yeah, so it's just like in high school, it's really hard to think that way. To think in terms of long-term commitment. Think in terms of like, am I committed to this person? Am I willing to, like, does this person make me better? Like, because it's more of like right now you make me feel this way. Right now you have said over the last the talking period, you have told me that you think I am a nice person. You have said that I am beautiful. You have said that blah, 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 all this different stuff. But like, trying to move yourself and matureness to say, okay, like, is this a waste of time? Because I would argue that a majority of our high school students can determine whether or not this relationship is a waste of time or not. Right. And when I say a waste of time, like if you're going to date somebody for a long time, but you know, most of the time, most wastes of times are learning experiences. But
sure, I hate that whenever people say like, well, this was all just a big waste of time, right. You know, this, that, or the other, because it's not a waste of time, because you're moving through life. Like you learned things, and you like experienced things that you didn't before.
At what point had you have already learned? You know, like you're in a relationship for a year.
It's like, oh, I feel like I've already learned this.
When at 5 months you knew,
well,
but you weren't willing.
And
to
I think some people, you know, and I've known people that it's like you date somebody, you break up, you date somebody, you break up, and it's like a pattern, the same. It feels like the same thing over and over and over again. But it's like, hey, there are moments in the repetition, and there are things to be learned, and it's easy for me to sit back and say that because I'm in a relationship and married and stuff like that. But you know, every moment of a story, or every moment of like life that we're moving through is important. And it's like, even if it doesn't feel like important, then, but you know, in the moment you'll look back and see that it is, or that was a moment that you learned something, or went through something valuable.
Well, I think who you date matters. I think there is a level of, I would argue that girls mature quicker than boys, you know, and especially mentally, they mature quicker than us.
Well, and I feel like talking about dating in general is such a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
Because for two people to sit around and talk about like their dating lives and stuff, that's one thing.
Right.
Because it's like, well, that's your story. That's how it went for you. Right. You know, maybe this is encouraging or discouraging or whatever, but it's like, that's one person's experience. And it's like, everybody has a different personality, meets people in different ways. Like we have no way of
large area, small area, different high school, different culture.
Talking about dating and like giving dating advice is like a rock and a hard place, because if it would be one thing if somebody came to you and said, in this relationship, I'm experiencing this.
And like, oh,
then it's like you can speak to something specific, but just like dating overall, as much as it's unencouraging,
right?
You kind of have to be like, you know what? I have to find my way on this. And it's kind of like walking for the first time where it's like you have to stumble a little bit and you have to fall down, and it's like you have to hurt yourself sometimes.
Well, and there are people who like, and I think there's a level of,
it sucks, but that's just what.
Yeah. Well, and there's a level of like, you kind of have to go through stuff. So like, I know some people who like didn't have a relationship until they were in college, and they see there's a lot of value in that because at the point in time they met their at that point spouse or significant other or whatever, like there was a level of maturity that they knew they could work through stuff, and they had a way. But I also think like, let's say everybody's going to go through, you know, different aspects of dating, and sometimes it's gonna be hard, sometimes it'll be all flashy and fun. But like, I would say if you're gonna date, like you should start as friends, one. But two, if you're not going to start as friends, your core group of friends, they should be solid. Like, you should have a group around you that you allow to speak into your relationship.
Yeah.
In the way of like,
well, and the best way to meet somebody too is to have it be a friend of one of your good friends.
I know. It's fantastic.
Because, you know, your buddy or, you know, your friend wouldn't steer you wrong.
Right.
Because they love you. So
I met my wife from my friend. Whose wedding I'm actually going to this weekend. I'm actually super excited.
I met my wife through friends.
Yep. So it's like,
we were friends for a long time before we ever started dating.
Yep.
So.
Well, like I said, my wife was not about me for a while. So we had to.
Yeah. I said some mean things.
Oh.
And Carly was not about me either.
She was really worried that you were bad news.
I was mean. I said mean things to people.
Well,
people just don't understand my comedy. You know?
Circle of life, you know. Do you have, I know we talked about how like advice is, you know, kind of
subjective.
Subjective rock and hard. What would you, if you had some advice to kind of close kind of our conversation about dating, what would you?
I would say don't wear, and this is just off the cuff, baby. I'm shooting from the hip.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say don't wear rose-colored glasses whenever it comes to dating and relationships. Relationships are difficult. There are going to be awesome days and awesome times, and there are going to be difficult moments too. And working through those moments is what makes a relationship awesome.
Right.
Is being able to look back and see like, gosh, man, we've had amazing times and we've been through some stuff too, and we've come out and we're closer than ever. And like, you know, those times where you have to work hard, like they're scary sometimes.
Facts, yeah.
But you can always come out of on the other side of a difficult moment, and maybe not directly on the other side. Maybe you get a couple of years down the road, you look back at those moments and you say like, we've really been through it, and I'm glad that we've stuck in it.
Yeah, that's really good.
I would say just don't wear rose-colored glasses whenever it comes to relationships. There's going to be hurt. And there's going to be happy, you know?
And there'll be the in between as well.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's really, really good. I think my kind of advice would just be specifically to high school students, is don't rush into it. I feel that like there is this urge and this want to be in relationships, and I get it. Like everybody wants to have someone who loves them and cares for them and like likes them. But I would just encourage you to be the best version of yourself, and work on who you are and who you're becoming, because like realistically, if you're not the best version of yourself when you enter into a relationship, whether it could have worked out or not, it has a less chance of working out if you're not working on yourself daily. So just don't rush in. Don't work so hard trying to get into a relationship that you're not worried about yourself. So, yeah. Anywho.
Yep.
I enjoyed talking about this. This was fun.
You got a fact?
I do have a fact about Evan, because this week we're talking about
facts. Are we taking this all the way?
We're taking this for the rest of the week. This is day 3 of facts about Evan.
Here we go. Let's see what we got.
Evan was a drum major in college.
That's true.
And his first love instrument was drums.
That's true. Percussion. Yep.
And
I went to school for that.
You never see Evan play the drums anymore, but he is quite skilled. I
appreciate you saying that. I won't agree with you out of out of a false humility.
Sounds about right. Don't wrestle your neighbor. We'll see you later.
Bye.